concern, of course, then is that this is going to potentially open the door for abuse, long-term abuse. What research has been done in terms of the addiction rates in South Africa, the links made between the use of cannabis and psychosis and other mental disorders?
Yeah, I mean, I think addiction capacity is not that huge an issue. It's not as habit forming as, for example, cocaine or heroin or wunga, all these drugs that are on the street at the moment. But there is definite research that has shown the incidence of the association between cannabis use and psychosis in young people. A lot of that research is local, done in South Africa, in fact, a lot of it in KwaZulu-Natal. And that is, apart from the clinical science of the research, the practical experience of psychiatrists. And I'm sure if you speak to most psychiatrists in the world, I've encountered psychiatrists from the Netherlands and from the United Kingdom who are having similar experiences. So it's not just South African cannabis that does this, but it is a problem. And as much as we're not too concerned about the addictive capacity, we are concerned about the capacity to create psychotic type illnesses.
Dr. Saldeko, last question. What countries where it has been legalized for medicinal use, have there been reports, where's the evidence of these sort of aforementioned negative outcomes?
To my knowledge, again, most of the information that's being put out there has got two versions to it. There's the commonly accepted version, and then there's the scientific one. There hasn't been a lot of scientific research yet over a long period of time because the legalization hasn't been that long for medicinal use. But there's definite evidence to show that there is an increase in use, and that even though the system has been regulated for it to be used medicinally, a lot of that is being used recreationally, and people are getting around the system by getting these cards that allow them to buy cannabis for medicinal purposes. And the point about all of that is that it's, whether it's legal or illegal, people are going to get hold of it. And that's not really, access is not really the issue. It's about giving the wrong message out, that it's safe for everyone. It is safe for some people, and in its current state, it's less likely to cause problems in the more adult, established brain, but very toxic in the young, developing brain. And that's really the crux. I think what happens is we end up getting lost in the many peripheral discussions around legalization.
And sorry, when you talk about using it for pain management, from a cost perspective, I mean, I'd imagine that it is cheaper than buying, sort of your regular painkillers or whatever, might be the alternative.
One would think so, yet the patients that I've seen in the pain clinic who've managed to get the oil are paying in the region of like 1,000 Rand for 5 mils, which is hell of expensive. But having said that, it's 5 mils of the oil tends to go a long way because you use very little of it. So I think cost is going to be driven by the supply and demand principle going forward. And it is obviously freely grown, but that's not the product that's going to be commercially available for us to write as prescriptions. That's going to have to go through the process of clinical trials and testing and proving that it's safe before you can prescribe it. And that's going to be probably add to the cost of it when it does eventually reach that level.
All right, Doc, thank you very much for your insight this morning, and thanks again for joining us from Durban.